steadfast in thy word. Curb those who...
The Lord be with you. Welcome to our next episode in our 3:16 study. In this lesson, we're going to cover two books, Exodus and Leviticus. So here's Exodus chapter 3, verses 13 through 17. Give us a little bit of the context. Then Moses said to God, "If I come to the people of Israel and say to them, 'The God of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they ask me, 'What is his name?' what shall I say to them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am." And he said, "Say this to the people of Israel, 'I am has sent me to you.'" God also said to Moses, "Say this to the people of Israel, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and thus I am to be remembered throughout all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say to them, 'The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, has appeared to me, saying, I have observed you and what has been done to you in Egypt. And I promise that I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt to the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey.'" That's chapter 3, 13 through 17. Our 3:16 deals with the elders. And it's pretty important because the elders were used as means of communication. Moses, in this case, called the elders together. He gave them some news, and then the elders went back to their clan and tribe and family, whomever, and told them what Moses had told them. So God uses that structure to get news out. I think maybe the more important part is what we find in kind of the larger context. Maybe you can see the burning bush that I've drawn on our board. Exodus chapter 3, the people of Israel, the children of Jacob, Jacob whose name was changed to Israel, they're languishing now in Egypt. What had been a beautiful relationship over hundreds of years had devolved. The Israelites were now slaves, had to make bricks. Then Pharaoh took away the raw materials. Then Pharaoh said, "Let's kill the boy babies." Moses' mom and dad put Moses in the basket, put him in the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter found Moses, raised Moses in Pharaoh's house. Moses was powerful, well-educated, a healthy man. Got into a scuffle with another Egyptian and killed him. Ran to Midian. Married Jethro's daughter and now was a shepherd to his father-in-law Jethro. And this bush, a green bush, caught on fire but was not being consumed. What's going on? "Moses, I am the Lord. I'm giving you my name." See, when Moses gets the news that he is to go to Pharaoh and say, "Let the Israelites go," the people of God are not going to believe him. "Who shall I say is sending me to them? I am who I am. That's my name." What we have right here, you read it this way: YHWH, Yahweh. Right there. YHWH. We throw in a couple of vowels to help with the pointing, with the pronunciation. And that's where we get the Lord. Capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D. When you see that in your Bible, you know who's talking. It's not any Lord. It's not your boss, not your manager, not your supervisor, not any Lord. It's the Lord. the name. We know God's name, and he encourages us to use it. What a privilege we have to know the name of God and to use it in our prayers. And that maybe moves on into Leviticus 3:16. Leviticus begins with a whole lot of offerings. Burnt, grain, sin, and guilt in 1, 2, 4, and 5. 3 is all about peace offerings. It's important. It's important to learn about offerings. How do I give them? What am I supposed to give? Why am I supposed to give it? Here's Leviticus chapter 3. And a little bit of the context for us. Verses 12 through 17. If his offering is a goat, then he shall offer it before the Lord, and lay his hand, the Lord, the name, and lay his hand on its head and kill it in front of the tent of meeting. And the sons of Aaron shall throw its blood against the sides of the altar. Then he shall offer from it, as his offering for a food offering to the Lord, the fat covering the entrails, and all the fat that is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them at the loins, and the long lobe of the liver, that he shall remove with the kidneys. And the priest shall burn them on the altar as a food offering with a pleasing aroma. All fat is the Lord's. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, in all your dwelling places, that you eat neither fat nor blood. So again, it's important to, know the various offerings that we have. Especially, I think, peace offerings and sin offerings and guilt offerings. We have sin. We deal with guilt. We seek peace. There are offerings to make. The priest makes the offering. That's kind of what the priest did. The priest stood in place of the people, offering their sacrifices to the Lord. In the Christian era, this is what the priest continues to do, what the pastors do. Collecting the prayers of the people, offering them to the Lord on the people's behalf. The priest, the pastor, the minister has been set aside, set apart to do this work. All the fat is the Lord's. Good. I've got enough of it to give to him. Fat, in some of the pagan religions that surrounded the Israelites, fat and blood was to be considered something that belonged to the divine, or also something that maybe gave special powers to people. So all the fat is the Lord's. But one thing I really would like to focus on is it talked about that this would be a food offering. What does food and peace have to do with each other? Well, when we move ahead to the life of Jesus, especially in the Gospel of Luke, we see Jesus eating with people a lot. He was criticized by the Pharisees. Hey, your teacher, your rabbi eats with sinners and tax collectors. How shameful. Why was it shameful? Eating with someone meant you accepted them. The Pharisees who criticized Jesus overlooked the fact that Jesus ate a meal at Simon the Pharisee's house too. Accepting Simon, eating a meal together. The Lord invites us to his table to eat. The Lord's Supper is the meal of forgiveness, life, and salvation. I'd also say it's the meal of acceptance. The Lord invites us to eat with him. He changes us in that meal. Sinners are invited to the table. The redeemed of the Lord are sent away. What a peace offering we have been given. A peace offering from the Lord through Jesus, so that you and I can be redeemed, so that you and I can be living sacrifices, offering ourselves in the Lord's service to those around us. So some things on 2 more 3:16s. Come back next week for our next episode. Thanks.